Hello everyone, I'm Jared Scott, and it's time for my Opus 25 spoiler here for you from the upcoming set Tears of the Planet, coming out in a couple weeks. We're coming to the tail end of spoiler season here. If you've been keeping track, we've had a little bit over half the set spoiled so far, and we're coming to the tail end, and I've got one more spoiler here to help get you through these last days for, until hopefully on Monday we get the full set in some form or another. We got our final card of the week. Should probably be out by the time that you watch this, and we'll see if any other spoilers trickle in as the end of the community spoilers come out here. A couple days ago, I did post a kind of a teaser for my spoiler. I've gotten in the habit of I like doing the little thing I call my spoiler without spoilers, just to kind of have a little fun with that meme, as it were. And so if you take a quick look at that for my spoiler here. Hey, there we go. So I had posted these four things. As you can see, we got Brain from Pinky and the Brain, as well as a 3-in-1 logo. So something about there being three things in one. And then we've got the Monster Mash, and everyone's favorite Batman villain here, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, making sure everybody's keeping cool. And so a lot of people went, okay, well, it's got to be something to do with monsters. So we got Monster Mash in there, and some people were really thinking about what sort of thing Brain could be with there, some kind of out there brain-related enemies. And obviously with Mr. Freeze, people went right to ice, so not too surprising there. I do have to give credit to Mr. John Schreiner for being the only person to correctly guess what my spoiler is, which you'll see here in a second. But good, go figure. The detective would figure this one out, huh? So, Detective Schreiner, what did you say we had? You said Chimera Brain. There he is. There's our little 3-in-1. Three nasty, angry heads, all at once there. So, taking a look at this guy. He's 9K when you turn him into a forward, 3 CP. Got an ability there. We'll come back to that in a second and what the restriction is. What I will say is that I have a soft spot myself for monsters that can turn themselves into forwards without any cost associated with it. Obviously, the popular ones there are things like Atomos and Tros, just those ones that they give you that extra layer of protection where they're only vulnerable to things that remove forwards or affect forwards whenever we want them to be. So, if they're going to play a Shantoto, or they're going to play something that deals damage when it enters the field, if it's during their main phase 1, then we have that protection of that we're not vulnerable yet to that. And so I always like that, because I tend to really enjoy forwards in general that have some sort of protection or just a little bit harder to interact with. So right away, looking at this and going, ooh, it's got a 0 that turns it into a forward. That's pretty cool to me. It's obviously over curve here at 9K 3 CP, especially for ice, which only recently has started to kind of creep out of that identity of being a little bit under curve most of the time. And so he's in that 3 CP 9K club right there with our good friend Onion Knight in Earth. Him and his no text being 3 CP and 9K. This guy does have text though. So he does have a restriction that comes along with turning you into a forward. He's not completely whenever you want him to. And the restriction there does say that your opponent needs to have a dull forward in order to activate him. And so on the surface, yeah, that's kind of a bummer that it's not just whenever I want, boom, there he is, he's a forward. But I always think of it in terms of, like, when am I going to use this offensively? When am I going to use it defensively? And if I'm using it offensively, we're in ice. Like, not very hard in ice to get opponents forwards dull, at the very least, if not dull frozen. So not the hugest hurdle to have to get over here in order to be able to take advantage of him offensively. And then on top of that, his ability does give him the additional ability when he attacks to be able to freeze a forward when he attacks. So that's pretty neat, because even when you're being offensive with him, you can still get the defensive benefit of freezing an opponent's forward that's already dull. So you're preventing them from swinging back at you the next turn. Now that we've attacked with one of ours, we have one less blocker available, and it can be particularly helpful when trying to stop somebody who has pretty nasty abilities when they attack, like our good friend Ifrit. Or I guess if you stop a Clive, he could still prime, but he would come in still dull frozen. So so yeah, there's some cool options there as far as getting a little benefit from attacking with him. Defensively, the way that I look at it is if your opponent is attacking, they probably have a dull forward anyway, unless they've got just a whole series of brave boys on the other side. Then if you're looking to block, you're probably looking to block a dull forward in most situations, in which case it's not a huge hurdle to turn him into a forward. So I do like that on both ends of things. Like I said, he's a big body for ice at being 9K, so that's pretty neat. And what else was I going to say about him? So he is a Final Fantasy X character. Interesting thing we've seen in the cycle of monsters so far, the 2 cycles of monsters, is that in the ones that turn themselves into forwards, the rest of them so far, I believe, have all been Final Fantasy VII category. We had Hell House and I think some other ones there that were 7. And so obviously that lines up with a lot of the synergy that we're seeing of things that involve other 7 characters. But here we have a Final Fantasy X character. And so it takes my mind right away to thinking about other things that synergize with 10 that get a benefit from 10. For example, we have the Riku backup that she can dull for any CP for casting a 10 character. So even if you're not in ice, you could play this Chimera Brain off of that Riku if you wanted to. There's nothing about the ability or the character that really requires ice, so you could play it off element if you wanted. Another one that's cute to me is the Wind Water Yuna, the dual element one there, that when she enters at damage 5, I believe it is, you can search your deck for a 10 character of, I believe it's 6 or less, and then play it onto the field. So the kind of ceiling scenario that I've imagined for this involves being at damage 5 and your opponent attacking with something that's hopefully 8K or less, and then doing Lena Special, of all things, to Lena Special in the Yuna, have her ability on the stack, the one that removes something based off of 10 characters, and then on top of that, play the Chimera Brain from your deck onto the field. Bam! Now you have an additional 10 character. Use the Yuna effect, make their opponent's forward go under the deck or something like that, and then block with the Chimera Brain to break the attacker, and and then fireworks go off from all that craziness. But that's kind of, like I said, the ceiling scenario. Pie in the sky there. But anyway, I like him. I like this guy and what he does. He's probably not going to blow the meta wide open or anything. He's not a 1 or 2 cost monster, so it's not like Realm is going to be dragging him out of the deck all the time. But I would like to see if somebody comes up with an interesting use for him. He can sit alongside Krista as another ice monster that can turn itself into a forward, not all the time, but for 0 and stuff, and repeatedly. So yeah, I think he's pretty neat. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed looking at Chimera Brain and hearing my brain talking about Chimera Brain. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of spoiler season here, these last few days going into the full set reveal, which is exciting. And then as a little reminder here, we do have the 2025 OP season just around the corner. It's not that far away. We're, I think, about 5.5 weeks away from the first Materia Cup, which is in California on April 19th and 20th. And you should come out and join us for that. There's still tickets available. We'd love to have anybody who wants to come out, whether you are going to some of the other Crystal or Materia Cups, or if you want to go to the Materia Cup, but the ticket's sold out. Kind of bummed about that. Either way, come out and join us. We have a great time out in California. Gonna be the first Materia Cup of the season. We're calling it the Wild West out here because who knows what people are going to bring. I'm just really excited to see what new decks arise out of that and what things we have to shake up the meta compared to last year. So yeah, come out and join us for the Materia Cup, and here's to the beginning of the OP season and a new set, and yeah, should be a good year. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening and for joining me on this, and I will see you all next time. Bye.